2, 1. And we are live.
Live.
We are live.
Live on Ciao Caroline.
So just give it a minute for people to find us. So we shall just chat amongst ourselves.
Will it come? Oh, there, yeah. So if I go in here,
can you see the and you got the little light at the top on my profile picture thingy?
Yes.
On here.
So if I click
on
on
little
that,
light at the top. There's always a bit of a delay. Now you've got a delay on Facebook.
Yeah.
There's always a delay with people coming in to see. So we've got 4. Evening, Clodagh, darling. How are you?
Hi, I'm just going to share this into.
You carry on.
I do not know what I'm doing with technology.
Oh,
we have definitely moved into the Uranian age because I'm doing technology, which is just something completely new. Right.
Anita, how are you?
Why won't this?
I don't know.
I've done it.
She's done it. See, us we're getting quite good at technology at Dragon HQ.
Wow.
I've fluked any kind of plan.
Oh, I've learned new things today already.
See, every day's a school day.
Yeah, I've learned StreamYard. I've learned how to share things. This is just stepping way outside my comfort zone. But hey, it's all good.
Didn't we? We're all good. We're all good. So we've got 7 on.
Hello.
So if you're Facebook stalking us, do come on and say hello. I know there is a bit of a delay on stuff coming through when we're on StreamYard and on Facebook. So do pop on and say hello, and I'll introduce Amanda properly in a minute. We've got 9 of you. Good evening. Good evening. So welcome to Dragon HQ and Dragon Studio once more. Oh, hello. Well, perfect timing, Rachel. So if you haven't seen, if not, you obviously haven't, it's on my work page. Molly has a friend, and this is Tweakle, and Tweakle's a rehome. So we rehomed her 4 weeks ago. So she's a rather nice chocolate Labrador, but when Mummy leaves, she cries. So she just cries and cries and cries. So she's up here with me tonight, and I've got a wet nose, a wet dog nose around my chops. So this is Tweakle. So she's the latest addition to Dragon HQ. And she's gorgeous.
How is Molly and Treacle?
The first 48 hours were slightly interesting because, as you know, Molly's a bit of a bossy cow. And so we had daggers at dawn, a couple of punch-ups. Treacle is much more respectful of Molly now. But she doesn't
really place, haven't they, I guess.
Yeah, and the thing is, Treacle hasn't, she doesn't know when to quit. She's a pup. She's 13 months old, and she just does not know when to knock it on the head. Yeah. So Molly actually had her pinned out by my back door. She was just kept on yesterday, and I separated them 3 times from getting the play. Rough play was getting too much. Molly was getting pissed off. And so she pinned her by the corner of the wall by the back door yesterday. It's like, now piss off! I fucking told you once. It's like, oh dear, Treacle, now you've been told. So that was all a bit interesting. Well, you going through
space, isn't it? It's like this is my home. What are you doing there?
Yeah. She's just, Treacle's just on it and in her face, and she gets cheesed off with it. But that's how it is. Anyway, we're not here to talk about dogs.
No, sorry. I do like.
Imagine I'll talk about dogs all day, won't we, man? But we are here with Amanda of Soul Trinity Healing, because we're going to do astrology tonight. Now, I know it's not dragon related again. It was last week, it was full moon and herbs with Kate Parker. And tonight it's astrology, because I actually know, apart from the fact that I know my star sign has been a Gemini, I know diddly squat about astrology. Oh, Mercury Retrograde, which obviously then puts everything into chaos.
Moon, the moon. You know the moon.
Well, I know the moon, sort of. I'm learning about the moon phases. The new moon and full moon. But actually, when it comes to astrology, I know absolutely diddly squat. So I thought, you know what? Actually, Amanda's an absolute mine of information when it comes to all kinds of things. And she's a bit naughty because she really hides her light under a bushel. So she's known as the Tropic Girl, aren't you? That is what you're known as, the Tropic Girl. But actually, there's much more to man than Tropic, because Tropic, if you don't know Tropic, it's a fantastic creams, lotions, potions, makeup, and that kind of stuff. That's completely. Is it vegan, Mandy?
Yeah, natural vegan.
Yeah, no chemicals.
And yeah.
So that's a sort of a lot of what Amanda's work is. But actually, she's also an astrologer. You're a Reiki master teacher.
Yeah, a lot of different things.
All kinds of things. All kinds of things. So I thought actually I'd ask Mandy to come on tonight and talk to us about astrology. So Mandy, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
And yeah, I've got treacle. What do you wanna? No. So over to you, and what are you going to talk about, my love?
Well, so what I thought I'd do, so in sort of a bit of preparation, I have looked at what's going on in the skies at the moment, and I'll tell you a bit about what's going on over the year. But I think a good start would be to introduce everyone to astrology, I suppose. Okay. Does everyone know what astrology is? You've got a rough idea, I guess. It's sort of getting human meaning from the sky. So it's been around since, I think it's the earliest recorded tracking of the sun and the moon. They actually found carved out tablets. So that would be what, Neolithic times. But I think mostly it's from sort of Babylonian times, the Egyptians, the Greeks. It's a very ancient tradition, but mostly they used to use it to, like an almanac, like seasonal, to know when to plant things, when to harvest things, and weather and everything else. And it was more in the kind of Renaissance time that it became more westernized.
So also maybe fashionable, a bit like the tarot, really, because tarot is sort of around the Renaissance time as well. So maybe that whole esoteric movement began with that whole Renaissance stuff.
Yeah. And you had kind of like, your mathematicians and your astronomers and everything. They started incorporating.
Yeah, you carry on, man. The dogs are not like that. You carry on talking.
That into. They started incorporating astrology in with the astronomy to make predictions and to plan everything. I mean, everyone used to navigate by the stars and everything else like that. So you had, let me try and think, the Egyptians, they are the ones who brought in the kind of zodiac elements. And I'll explain that in a minute, what zodiac difference is. And then you had the Greeks. And back in those ancient times, they used to look at the planets as gods and goddesses. And, that's where all that mythology comes from and that symbolism comes from.
So you've got like Zeus, Methuselah, all of that lot, Titan.
Yes. Yeah, well, the planets are actually named after, in Greek, that's their gods' names. It was Mercury, it was Mars, the Greek. And different cultures all around the world have different, they link it to different deities and whatnot. But yeah, so it was more around the Renaissance time that it became, like you say, like fashionable. And it was at that time, and I can never pronounce his name. I can't ever pronounce it. It's, oh God, the Egyptian guy. What's his name?
Oh, I don't know. What it'll come in?
Not Potomet. What's his name? It'll come to me anyway. It'll come back to me. He's the one who kind of merged it together with Alexander the Great, and it was all like the Roman times, using the calendar and the way to kind of plan revolutions and war and everything else, and use it for tactical purposes and guidance purposes and what they should do in war and battle and things like that. Wow. I know, it's fascinating when you look at the history of it, but kind of in the more modern times, it was people like Galileo. What's the other dude's name? Kepler. Those mathematician type people who they figured out that, because in the previous times they used to think that it was all the planets moved around the Earth, and then it was only then that they found out that the sun was the center and that everything was moving around, and that's when we got the new charts. And that's what we used to say. That's what I use. So I work with Western astrology, which is what we call tropical astrology. And that is mapped from a point on the equinox. So what it's saying with that is that if you imagine, when you see a chart, have you seen a birth chart? So it's look at it like a clock. Yeah. And they split the sky up into the 12 sections, so the 12 the zodiac and the houses, and they're all there's different types of astrology that use different house systems, and this is the system that I use. It's just a tropical Western one, and I use a Placidus house system as well. There are so many different types out there, and that's why it can get confusing, I think. When
so it's a bit like the tarot. You got what, 1,000 tarot decks or so on the market, or more than 1,000 tarot decks. So each astrology way of doing it is just the same results. It's just a different name or a different variant on the same theme.
It is, but it's also calculated from a different point.
Oh, okay.
On the planet, so the actual calculation. So if you look at like tropical astrology that I do, what that is saying, it's saying that in the first house or the first sector, which is probably like 9 o'clock on the clock, is Aries, and that we start the astrological calendar from the spring equinox.
Oh, it's just coming up.
Yes.
How perfect! Well timed.
Yeah, the spring. I did think that the spring equinox is going to be a really important time, because it's the start of the astrological calendar, so it's the start of the new year. So you can look at the theme for the year ahead, and also when we're coming up to the new moon, which is coming up, the new intentions that you set, then you'll be setting them for the whole year.
Wow, I didn't know that.
On the astrological year, yeah.
So there we go. See, learn something else.
Synchronistic. You've also got real-time astrology, or Vedic astrology. They call it sidereal. Oh, I can never say it. And I don't do that. I could do it, but I don't do it. It's not where I've sort of trained and studied. But it's become a lot more popular nowadays, because the difference with that is that they, instead of plotting all the points, so with astrology, what you're doing is you're looking at where all the planets are when you were born.
Right, yeah.
That's what it is. And those planets are giving you different experiences. The zodiacs are giving you different characteristics. It makes up who you are. So you can sort of look at your behavior and your personality through the influence of celestialness. Yeah.
As it's written in the stars, as they say.
As it's written in the stars. It's like your map of the map of you, really. What sums up your personality, your behaviors, your path, why are you here, your past. Everything is all kind of mapped in that chart, and you can then draw predictions from it by progressing the chart and looking at the future, where those planets are going to transit, where the current planets are going to transit your natal planets. Transit means move. So that's how you predict the future. And you're kind of looking at it on a basis of, like we did this, when this transit happened before, this happened. So you've built up a theme over time. So that you can predict what's coming. But I did a birth chart last week for somebody a new age child who was born last week, and somebody bought the birth chart for them as their welcome to planet Earth present. So she's not going to be able to read it yet, but when she does, there were some points in that chart that just haven't been mapped yet. So I was completely predicting them. So I'll be really interested to see when she grows up if that is the case. It will be really interesting. Because we are in the age of Aquarius now, so it's an age-old song. So Vedic astrology is a little bit different. So what that means is, for those of you who don't know, is that instead of mapping it from the equinox point, you're mapping it from a fixed star. And as I'm sure you know, we are moving. We're all moving. Our solar system's moving through space, and so therefore those positions will have moved. It says a star moves roughly 1 degree every 72 years.
Does it really?
Count, yeah. So not the planets, but the other stars, the celestial, like Orion and things like that. Those constellations, they'll all be moving, and if they've moved 1 degree in 72 years. If we're taking it back from when that kind of began, that would be roughly 25, 26 degrees difference now.
Wow.
Which would actually then mean that spring will be in spring. Hang on, spring. It will be backwards. It will be spring. Would be in April, not March. Okay. So that can make a difference nowadays. Maybe not back then. You know, using the old way, because the movement of the stars was so minuscule, it wouldn't have made much difference in chance. But it does now, because that can take you from your planets being in one house to being in a completely different house. It can take you from one sign to being a completely different sign. So that does have its merits. I don't personally use it, but you know, it makes sense to me.
So you've got your birth chart.
Yeah.
Are there other charts as well, or is it only your birth chart? Then you predict from the birth chart. This is where I go. Now I go. I know it's completely nothing.
You just use the birth chart.
Oh, do you?
But you use something called, and I can never say this word either. I'm not very good at terminology. I know what it means in my head. I keep calling it the epidermis because I do skin, and it's not skin. I will. How do you say that word again? It's the ephemeris. I can never say it, but basically, it's the date of all something, where they are, their positions, their degrees in the universe. So you can use that to plot it. Now, when I first started doing astrology back when I was 20, because I've been fascinated with the cosmos and the stars since I was born. I don't think I remember a time where I wasn't. It just seems like it's in me, you know. A bit like crystals, a bit like, you know, healing stuff that came later. That came following trauma, but the stars and crystals and all that just, I don't remember a time when it wasn't something I was interested in, or, you know, obviously it came through with me from previous life. But
you've got an Atlantean lifetime there. I've just been given that.
Do you know what else? I did a past life regression with Rachel, actually, and I've done it a couple of times, and came through as Da Vinci. Now, he was a great mathematician, wasn't he? And again, he plotted the stars. I mean, we're all connected to it.
Of course we are.
So, you know, it's there in the Akashic, isn't it, to pull the information through. But it's just something I've always been interested. But when I first learned when I was 20, the course that I did taught us how to draw a chart with a protractor and a compass and sit there with your epidermis, which isn't called an epidermis. I will. What's the word called, guys? It's called an ephemeris. Ephemeris. So you would use that. You would plot all the points. You would, you know, and it would take bloody hours. It took me about a week. I drew my chart. I think I drew my family's chart, and I was like, this is too much. I can't. I put astrology down for a bit, you know, through my 20s, got a job, went out, like you do, put most of that stuff down until my Saturn return. And that's what rewoke me up to it. Now, Saturn return is something that if you are of the age of 29 and a half, you'll be going through this now. And my Saturn return was quite traumatic. And that's what then led me to going back to the stars for guidance, to figure out who I was and what the hell was going on with me, because it was not good. So yeah, your solar return is when the sun comes round. It's your birthday. Saturn return, Saturn takes 29 and a half years to go around the sun. So your Saturn return comes when you're 29 and a half, and it lasts for about 18 months, 2 years. And I called Saturn return, it's like fate. So when Saturn comes around, it's Saturn's the constrictor. It is the structure, it's your discipline, it's everything, really. And if you're not on the right path, it will abruptly from it. If you're on the right path, it's just a case of kind of like rechecking. It's like, just check where you are doing here. Okay, yeah, you're all right, you can keep going. Well, we need to make some things here. It's a lot of people change, you know, in midlife crisis they say is 40. I think it's 30.
No, absolutely, because at 30 you just reminded me.
I know who I am. I'm going to change my career. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to get divorced.
You know, but actually at 30 I was on Prozac and suicidal.
Yeah, oh, me too, Sam.
I would quite happily have cut my throat at 30. And there was a real 18-month period that was just hideous.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be here.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
Saturn going through, and that Saturn's going, you, young lady, are on the wrong path. You've completely messed up your life. What the hell are you doing? Let's just rip this apart and start again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please, I'm not trying to scare anybody who's having their Saturn return, because if you're going in the right way, you'll be fine. And it's also that whole thing, which, you know, we learn as we grow, but the more we cling to stuff, the more painful it is. So like, let it go with the flow. If the job goes, it goes. If the marriage goes, it goes. You know, it's just let it go, because the more you can, the more painful you're just, because it's going to happen anyway. So fate is
really interesting. And it was after that I had a massive life change again. I've had a couple, but it was after that.
Maybe you'll have another one at 58.
Oh, thanks. I've got 4 years to go.
Well, let's hope you're on the right path this time.
If I'm not on the right path now, man, I'm giving up and going home.
Oh, God. So, I mean, like my 29th, you know, I mean, you know, we're probably here, but I lost everything, right down to even the clothes on my back. I didn't have anywhere to live. I lost everything. I was living in China. Life couldn't have gone any worse for me. I lost the physical, the mental, the spiritual, everything. You know, I lost the plot completely. And
being so far away from home as well, that's been really difficult.
That was awful. I just.
Oh, God love you.
Huh?
No, I said, God love you. That's hideous.
Yeah, it was pretty hideous. I can tell you. Anyone who knows me at that time will confirm that for you. It was 2 years that was very difficult, but completely changed, because before that, I mean, I shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have been in that country. I should never have gone. Right. All the warning signs were there. I shouldn't have been in that relationship. All the warning signs were there. I wasn't doing what I should have been doing. And, you know, I paid the price for that. But what it did do is it awoke me. Awoker? I hate that woke. We're woke. But you know what I mean? Yeah. What got me out of that was healing. You know, discovering that side of everything, of energy work and breath work and the connection, and that came. And right now, as I'll go into the transits and stuff in a minute, we are in the middle of another mass awakening. So I was in the 2012 awakening, which was, you know, is a big event for many across the globe. But now we are in the mass awakening. I mean, 2020 to 2023 is the mass awakening. And a lot of that is galactic stuff. You've got all sorts of energy coming in now that we didn't have.
Loads of energy coming in.
Yeah. So, well, let's move this nicely on to transit, shall we? 2020, we moved into like Earth. This is the thing, you got the spiritual side, but you've got this very scientific as well. It's like balancing out the two, which is why I love it. I'm a massive geek as well, but the science and the spirit go together so well. It just makes perfect sense to me. So anyone who says, I don't believe in the planets and all that, I'm just like, really? You are made of stardust, people. You are made of it. What do you think you are made of? The Earth is actually, as I said before, we're moving forwards. Yeah. So our galaxy, our little solar system is moving forwards, and we have just moved through this kind of like we've come out of this sort of sheltered area. I don't know what the word of it is. Some kind of into like through a photon belt now, where we're receiving new energy that we have never ever experienced before as humans. It's never come into our planet before. It's very high vibrational, like gamma rays and all sorts, which is increasing the vibration of the Earth. And it's increasing the vibration and changing the DNA and all of that of us, because we are made of stardust, you know, where we are made of those elements as well, the carbon and water, all the different elements. And it is, you know, how energy resonates and things happen. That's what's happening. So we're getting upgraded. So a lot of people might be suffering at the moment with Ascension symptoms, you know, like the headaches and the dizziness and the not knowing who you are and what the hell's going on, and why do I feel that weird wave of energy? And so it's very important at the moment to be very grounded. Grounding is like essential. Just to keep yourself in the present, because it's hard, and to keep. Do you know much about like the Schumann resonance? Because that's the
is that the Hertz wave thing?
Yeah, that's coming with the Earth, isn't it? It's like is it like the Earth's resonance?
It's the Earth's frequency that does this.
Yeah. And if you look at it, I looked it up the other day, and you can just see this massive energy that's coming in. It's huge. It's fascinating.
Really? Okay. Is that why we've got COVID now? Because it's like clearing up all this kind of stuff.
So the reason we've got COVID now is last year and the year before. I'm going to bring out Saturn again because he's a pain. God help him. We love him. The big players were in Capricorn last year as well. So Saturn is very much about structure, discipline, hard work, contraction, restriction. And we had a lot of the big players moving through that. And it is exactly that. It's like that. What it is we're moving into this very light vibration. We're moving away from these power control structures into the age of Aquarius and the power of the people. So we're moving from earth to air. We're moving from, you know, the fixed to the ether, you know, and it's when you have any kind of shift, like I say, when you cling on too tight, things kick off. So it has all been mapped out in the stars that, you know, it's just interpreting how it's going to kind of manifest. But those big players were through. Now, a lot of you may have seen a lot of people were saying there are 7 planets in Aquarius, and now we're in the age of Aquarius. So the first planet went into Aquarius in the year 2000. And by all accounts, people who don't count Pluto as a planet, which they should, I count it as one of the most important planets. So all of the planets bar Pluto are now in Aquarius. So yes, we're in the age of Aquarius. But my actual opinion on that is that Pluto is the planet of transformation, and he doesn't, I call them he's and she's, like they're my mates. All right, Pluto. He doesn't move into Aquarius until 2023, 24. So we're going to be going through this period of it's change. It's rapid change at the moment, because we're moving from this age, you know, was it 2,000 years of being in the age of Pisces. And obviously the start of Pisces was the birth of Christ. And that whole 2,000 years was very much about religion, indoctrinations, structure, regulation, rules, government, all of that. And now we're moving into the air phase, which is going to be more about, well, first of all, Aquarius is a humanitarian. So it's more about the people. It's very much about the people, rather than the rules and the regulations. It's going to be a more level playing field. That there's not going to be that hierarchy and structure. It's about, you know, the way that we communicate with each other. It's about giving the people what they want. So when they say the power will be in the people in the next 2,000 years. I don't know how long this is going to take, but, you know, it's going to change. Social order is going to change. And also then Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is a very, how do I describe Uranus? It's liberation. It's revolutionary change. It's fast. It's impactful. So it makes that. So you've got those two things together kind of making this happen at the moment. And it's also about technology and galactic stuff, Uranus. It's about space travel. It's about developments in technology. So as it moves through each house, so if I just sort of explain the clock of astrology, you've got your zodiac.
Yeah.
You know, your sign, your star signs, let's call them, your sun signs, whatever. You've then got the planets. So the zodiac is the characteristics. The planets are the experiences. And So when you understand the symbolism, it's really easy. If you just break it down. And then the houses are the areas of life that's going to be in. So as these planets transit through these different areas of life, personally, obviously this is going to affect each of us in our own personal charts, but as a world chart, these things are going to move through with a theme of, let's say, Aquarius at the moment. And you're going to have these different experiences and different developments kind of going through. So as Uranus is moving through, like at the moment, it's in Taurus. And Taurus is very much about the earth. Taurus is part of the earth. It's the earth, but it's also resources. It's Taurus is very much about the finance. It's about agriculture. It's where we get our food from and things like that. So if you put all of these things together, the prediction for 2021 is going to be, I feel like I'm being kind of traumatic here, but it could be as far as, you know, financial unrest in the markets. It could be depression.
Well, actually, my husband follows the American stock market, and the American stock market's been on a massive crash for the last week. Yeah. It's just a sea of red. It recovered slightly today, but it's just a sea of red, you know. And there is financial institutions are being put under pressure. Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. Our government's under financial pressure. The billions and trillions we've borrowed for COVID, you know, our great grandchildren will be paying that back.
The good thing is that, you know, it's going to it will pass. Uranus is a further out planet than Saturn. So at the moment we've got this square that I'll talk about, but it's further out. So the further out the planet is, the more it's going to win out. So the future is bright. It's going to change, and it will recover. And the other thing that it might affect, like I said, is food. So it will be agriculture. So that will be imports and exports. Well, let's look at Brexit. You know, can we get our food in and out of the country at the moment? So it does. It has an impact on this, but there are positives and negatives as well. So it's not always doom and gloom. They're the positive aspects of these things as well. So with Uranus being technological, is that a word? Advancement, you're going to see advancement in those areas. So they talk about cryptocurrency, don't they? They're talking about all that. If we're talking about finance, and then we're talking, so Taurus and Uranus, we've got the money and the technological advancement, put that together, cryptocurrency. So you can see that might be on the rise this year. Yeah. It's all just literally putting that symbolism together and seeing what you come out with. And I find it fascinating when I make the predictions and go, oh, that really did happen. What I will say with astrology, even with your own natal chart, is don't get kind of obsessed with it. Like, don't rule your life by it, because it's a theme. It gives you a theme. It could play out in a number of different ways. You cannot wake up each day and go, oh no, you know, Uranus is transiting square Mars, I can't go out today. That's ridiculous. You just gotta get on with it.
And that's a bit like the tarot, isn't it? Yeah. You know, I will only read for somebody once or twice a year, and because you can't live your life by what the cards say, because as you say, it's a general, it's an overview of what could potentially take place for you. What you do with that information is entirely up to you.
It is. It gives you I mean, like, let's just say you're a Gemini, right? Steve's a Gemini. Just because you're both Geminis doesn't mean that when these transits is going to affect you in exactly the same way. No one person is the same. No, and this is where I talk about that, you know, the houses and that. When you look at all of these charts and posts and things that you see on Facebook a lot of the time, like, oh, this moon means this for you. Does it really? Probably not, because it's not accurate. They use like what I call a whole house system to do those things, and that then gets your sun sign, your star sign, and it will put that in position number 1 in that 9 o'clock position, and then it will assume that all those houses are equal 30 degrees, and that's how it's then working it out. Whereas your personal chart, that isn't where your ascendant is, that isn't where your midheaven is. It's not like the it's just not accurate at all, which is fine. It's fine for a general world theme.
Yeah.
You know, that's absolutely fine. But for personal interpretation, it wouldn't be particularly accurate psychologically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like horoscopes. I'm not into horoscopes.
Oh, they all Libras gonna get run over by the number 38 bus on Tuesday morning.
Yeah. You're going to find love in the supermarket on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, am I?
I love it. Excellent. So what are the gems got hidden away for? Should we have a quick look at comments, shall we?
Yes, go for it.
While you find what other why you think about what your next thing's gonna be. So who have we got on? So to the low. So we've got Cloda, Ninja. If I said that right, Ninja. Michelle, hiya. Hi Maddie, Julie, hiya. Hi Laura, hello Sharon. Minal, hiya. Oh, hello Jordan, you managed to make it. Well done. Claire, Paul, I love to see you. I think that's everybody that's commented. So evening all. So has anybody got any questions for man? While she's saying what are you saying next? Go on then.
Talk about whatever you want. I could tell you the transits that are coming up for
March. Yes, have a look at March then.
Have a look at March, shall we? Mystic Man. Here we go. My friends they joke because they call me Mystic Man, which is a bit of a take on, and I don't want to. Please do not relate me to Mystic Meg in any way.
Oh, septic peg.
Septic peg. Oh, no. But because we used to go into whenever we went out, a little party piece where they would. We went to a restaurant for Steve's birthday, and we just met some strange people. I was like, oh, I bet you're a Sagittarius. And they were like, how did you know? And the next person went, oh, do me? And I'm like, yeah, you're an Aquarius. Like, how did you know? So then in the end, the waiters and waitresses were coming over and getting me to do it. The cook from the kitchen came out and got me to do it. And I'm like, I felt like a bit of a party trick. So they all just nicknamed me Mystic Man. It's quite funny. But obviously there was a bit of intuition in there as well. So 4th of March, yesterday. Mars, which is action and energizing. It's fast, it's dynamic, moved into Gemini. Gemini is all about gathering information, learning, educating. So again, for you, you'd need to know which house it's in your chart to know what that kind of will mean. But overall, in general, it's going to sharpen our thoughts and our speech. And the kind of the world theme at the moment will be kind of inquest, like new information coming out, stuff like that. So that's kind of where that's going to lead us to. It's going to stay there for a while. 10th of March, the sun, which is our vitality and our life force, moves in conjunct, which means it's in the same place as Neptune, which is the planet of like spirituality and dreams, and both in Pisces as well. So Pisces is again very dreamy, very it's the ebb and the flow of life. It's creative. It's that spiritual kind of element. So those two together, the sun is going to kind of shine a light for us on the shadows, our shadow self a little bit, which is always good because it's spiritual growth, you know. But as a world theme, again, it's going to shine a light on things in the shadows. So revelations. So you're going to get new information. You get revelations coming out. Oh, I wonder what's coming. Quite excited. And then on the 13th, we've got the new moon. Yeah. So the moon is something I work with. That's the thing I focus on, I think, mostly in my group. So I've got a little group that I do all my updates in, and I do new moon, full moon readings. And the new moon, like, you know, obviously you know this, you set your intentions and seeds for the month ahead. It's in Pisces, so a new moon is always when the sun and the moon are in the same place. And it's a dark moon. So because the sun and the moon next to each other. The sun's not shining a light on it. You can't see it. It's dark. I use this time personally to go within, figure out what I want. Being in Pisces on the 13th, that is going to be very dreamy, very mystical, very linked to altered states, so meditation, and insights, sort of spiritual insights. So you might find you have some random dreams around the new moon. That's going to be insights into where you need to kind of heal the shadow. It's going to bring those things to the surface potentially in your dreams, like your connection to the divine and stuff. What else have we got happening? Yeah, so that's what I do at the new moon. I never actually set my seeds on the actual dark moon. I always do it on the crescent moon.
Okay.
Because, well, it's in the dark. I mean, you do plant seeds in the dark. It's fine if you want to do it on the new moon. I just like to do it on the crescent moon because that's when it's just an ideal time for manifesting in the moon phases. Mm-hmm. What else have we got? Is there any questions? Immunology synced. Yes, it is, Jigna. Yeah, it is very much synced. Moonology is astrology using the moon. So yes, it's synced. Yeah. 15th of March, you got Mercury is moving into Pisces. So Mercury's the mind, moving into Pisces, dream and flow. What you might find around the 15th of March is that you will be very imaginative, very creative. It's a good time for creative learning. Communication is going to become more sympathetic. But what you might get around that period of time is a bit of reduced concentration because Pisces isn't one for focus. And yeah, so yeah, if you're trying to study, you'll need to really ground and get a load of crystals around you to get focused. And then we've got the 20th of March, which is the equinox and the start of the astrological calendar. So yeah, sun moves into Aries, and it's the beginning of the new astrological year. Yes, start of a new 200-year cycle in air. It's a good time then because obviously sun is the vitality. Aries is all about your ambition, your personal goals. So it's a really good time to set your personal goals in your career, I think, and not just career goals, but your personal goals. It's all about your initiative. What do you want to bring for yourself in the coming year, and focus on manifesting that. There's a few more sort of transits that are going on in March, but nothing particularly major. I think the biggest thing is what is happening. The biggest thing, the kind of the biggest challenge in March is the same challenge that there is throughout the whole of 2021, and it's an aspect of Saturn square Uranus. I'll say Uranus because I know my friend Sarah, if she watches, will crack up. And Saturn, again, it's that planet of Saturn is constricting. If you think Saturn is law and order and Uranus is like freedom and liberation.
Oh, so
all year we're in a square in that position where they're just arguing with each other. They just can't see, they can't see each other's point of view. So it's going to be a difficult year. I'm not going to lie. There are going to be, it's going to be tough, but it's the end of a tough cycle. In the coming years, it's going to be great.
Right. So this is the sort of almost like the gun shoot at the OK Corral, isn't it? So it's like the
last chance saloon sort of thing, isn't it? It's like sundown kind of. Yeah. It is. It's that. When you're about to lose everything and you panic, that you just throw everything at it in desperation to try and save it from falling apart, but it's going to fall apart. So Saturn needs to let it go, but it won't.
Isn't it fascinating?
Yeah, it is. You think Saturn is limits, control. Saturn's the old. It's also time. It's logic. It's organization. It's structure. It's obedience.
See, we're moving away from that, aren't we?
Literally the opposite. They couldn't be more opposite, and it's just like they're fighting at the moment. So that in the streets, you may see there may be protests, there may be rebellion, there may be you know, and in your own personal life, if that transit is affecting you, it will affect you. That transit will be affecting you at some theme of life in a house. For you personally, it will be there and it will be causing a challenging aspect. Wow. I wonder what it is for me. I don't even look. I should look that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So has anybody got any questions for Mand?
Hi, any questions?
So we've got Maddie was just saying I'll only major shifts in your 50s. Yeah, 58 is the next big one when Saturn comes back again, if you missed that, Maddie. So perhaps at 29.5 and 58, isn't it, man? Did you say?
Yeah.
So when 58, so I'm 4 years off.
You also get your Chiron. Your Chiron return is, I can't think when that is. For 50, I think Chiron returns at 50. Chiron's the wounded healer. He's an asteroid. So he's not a planet, but you all know Chiron. I say you all know. You all know the wounded healer.
I didn't realize that was Chiron. Is that what Chiron's wounded healer? Oh, that ties in quite well. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So he'll come up. I think it's 50. I'll double check that, but I think it's around 50ish. You get your, you know, your whatever's come up for healing for you, or what your theme is of life. Your healing theme will come up it will resurface just to kind of check in and
interesting.
Test you probably a little bit.
It's really interesting because when I was 50, and this happened to a few friends of mine, we've all sort of hit 50, and then like health wise it goes tits up. And I actually had a stroke when I was 50.
Really?
Yeah, I just had a minor stroke when I was 50. Yeah.
So that would link it. I mean, I don't know where your Chiron is. If you're trying to think like my Chiron's in Taurus.
Wouldn't know where mine is.
And mine will be about when my Chiron hits, it's going to be more about what I value. Where your Chiron would have been, I'm trying to guess. I'd obviously have to look at your chart, but would it have been Aries or would it have been Pisces? I don't know, because it spans quite a long generation. But if it was Aries, that would actually probably make some sense because it's personal identity and stuff. Yeah,
it's very strange. It was. Look at that. So
I'd like to. What's this? 58 this year. Wow. Good luck with your Saturn return. You're going to be fab. Your second Saturn return's a walk in the park.
If you're in the right place. If you're doing the right thing.
It's the first one that's there. I don't know if anyone got any questions. I think a common question I get all the time is why do I feel rubbish around a full moon?
Oh yeah, go on. Yeah, so just
me. Why is it affecting me?
So why do we feel rubbish around the full moon? Why is that? A lot of us do.
Because we just turn into werewolves, don't we? I think that's where it came from, that whole
lunacy and everything, isn't it?
Yeah, there are way more accidents and violence and murders and all sorts on a full moon. It's because the moon is about our inner self. It's our psychology, and it is very, when it's a full moon, the sun's shining on it and it is literally illuminating that and powering up our whatever we've been holding in all month. So those emotions, especially with women, and men do get this as well because men do have a cycle, but more women because we're very linked with the moon, with our cycles that are very linked in with the moon. And it's a time of release. So we all just we go rip, don't we? We just let it go wild. We're just like, can't take any more. And
go nuts.
No. But as to whether some will affect you and some won't will determine whether it is. So your three most important aspects in your chart will be your sun sign, your moon sign, and your ascendant with regards to the moon.
How do you know which is which? Well, your sun sign's your astrological, like your zodiac sign, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And then when you get your chart done, I mean, you can get a free chart off of the internet. It's very easy.
It's been done properly by you.
Well, that's just a free chart. It's not going to explain it. Obviously, if you get it done by me, then I'm going to give you a full interpretation, explain a bit like what I've done today, and tailor it to you. Because again, they're using a whole house system, and it's not specifically to you. But you can find out what your sun and your moon sign and your ascendant are very easily by like Cafe Astrology or Astrodensant or something like that. That you go in there, put your birth data in. Now, to find your ascendant, which is a very important part of your houses, you can't determine your houses, which are your themes of life, without your birth time. Otherwise, it just won't be accurate. Because the birth time determines where your ascendant is, and your ascendant is that 9 o'clock point. And then once you know that, you can then map out the rest of your houses. So you'll know by looking at your chart. And then to work out, obviously, whether this moon affects you more, it's going to determine. So let's say, what have we got? So at the moment, we've got the new moon Pisces coming up on the 13th. So therefore, if you have a Pisces sun sign, moon sign, ascendant, or then it will affect you more. But also Pisces is a mutable sign. So if you are also a mutable sign, so I mean, it gets really complicated. It's not as simple. Yeah. If you're a mutable sign, so if you're a Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, or a Virgo, you also will feel it more than not. That's why sometimes people will feel it more than others, as in the energy wise and the impact on their life. The moon will go through every house. It goes around, it goes through everything, every house, every sign, every 27 and a half days or 28 days. So yeah, it's a very short-lived cycle, and that's why it's our emotions. And you might find your emotions go up and down throughout the month as well.
Yeah, I do. That's why I can get more tired at different times as well, and kind of things like that. So somebody's brought up there. Emma was saying, no idea what time I was born. I was born on the bloody cusp day, so never know which one I was. My husband's got the same problem. He doesn't know his time of birth, and his mum's got dementia. She can't remember.
Yes.
So I was thinking the only way to do that is to actually go to his medical records and get it off your medical records.
Yeah.
Medical records. Yeah,
it should be on your birth certificate.
What time?
Is it not on the birth certificate? I don't know.
It's not on mine or Kev's.
Oh.
I don't know. I'll have to have a look. So it'll be definitely on his medical records. So that's what I've got. So I'm going to get Kev's chart done.
I mean, you can kind of look roughly between AM, afternoon, lunchtime, noon, as long as you've got a rough idea, you're going to get roughly okay. If you're way out, like if you were born in the morning and you're getting a chart that says you're born in the evening, it's going to be way off.
Yeah, so I was born in the morning. I was born about 10 to 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
But Kev's got absolutely no idea at all. So I'll have to go to doctors to get his.
I mean, you'll be able to find out the sun and the moon sign. That's not a problem. But it's just the houses and the ascendant, which when you're working with the moon to know where the moon's going to affect you, you really
very affected by the moon as well.
Yeah, it's the houses. You wouldn't really get much of a interpretation from it otherwise, because all the ones that you see out there, they're like, oh, for a Capricorn, the moon is doing this month. It sort of is, but it isn't, because it depends on how that's going to manifest for you. So that's why whenever I do my moon posts, which I put out on my page, it will be the theme of the moon, and then it will be you need to put your chart to find out where that is going to manifest for you, because it could be in your relationship sector, it could be in your career sector, it could be, otherwise you're just kind of stabbing in the dark.
Exactly that. So we've got
it wasn't on the birth certificate. Oh,
no.
I just asked my mum, and luckily she knew.
My mum does. Bless her, Kev's one's got dementia. She ain't got bloody conclusion. She doesn't even know what day of the week is or what year.
No.
Well, and then you can
Who are you?
Yeah. She was asking Kev the other day, who are you with now? We've been together 30 years. Oh, just love her. But there we go. So, so people can get a reading with you. So what do you do? mail it to them? Do you draw it out? How does that work, man?
So I don't manually draw them out anymore, because now in this modern age, we've got these fancy dancy apps that do that for us. Yay!
Excellent.
So it takes me it can still take me, I give a time scale of around 10 days, because I've got obviously do a lot of other things. And yeah, you'll get a time scale when you order one, but I offer various different charts.
Oh, do you? Go on. So
yeah, I've split it up, because where I do quite a lot with the moon, I offer the planets in you. So that's the planets, where they are and how they're transiting for you. And then I do and also what houses they're in. But then I also do the moon chart. So the moonology, like Jigna was saying, which focuses more specifically on the moon, how to work with the moon, and how you can track then what house it's in for you. So it's specifically more about the houses. For that one, you do need your time of birth.
Yeah.
And then the other chart that I do is something new that I've started doing about 3 years ago. Well, this June it will be 3 years. I started working with the human design, which is an extension of astrology to a degree. It is more about your body system, so how you were designed, like your body-centered intelligence, and how you were designed to navigate through your life and through the world. Like it's your energy system and your inner guidance system, but it's made up from astrology. That's how I kind of got in with it. So you've got the astrology in there, but you've also got the I Ching, the Kabbalah, and the chakras system, and it's kind of all combined together. So I do that as well now, which I'm loving. I've been working with my own experiment for like 3 years, and I started offering those out then as readings for others about 2-3 months ago. So it's still new and exciting, and I'm still working on my own. But yeah, they're the 3 that I do, or I can do a full combined one, and the full one also comes with the human design is totally separate. So that's separate because it's a massive thing on its own. But you can get the full birth chart, planets, and the moon houses and everything together with an actual call reading that explains that all as well.
Do you do anything written down for people as well, like a typed
out?
Yeah,
no, I'll type it all out. Yeah.
What's the dates?
It's not. It doesn't. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but I love it. So that's why I say you get a time scale when you order, because it depends how many I've got in.
Yeah, of course.
Type up, it is, because I do type up my own interpretation. It's not, I don't use a bot or a fancy gadget to do it. It's just from my own knowledge. So I use the machine app, whatever you call these things, to get the chart. It prints out the chart for me, and I got all the transits. Fantastic. And then I will type your interpretation up, and it can take a while. It's about 40 pages. So
blimey.
No.
Wow.
It will get quicker. I'll get quicker and quicker. I'm getting quicker and quicker. Last chart took me just shy of a day.
Wow.
Yeah. There are, I'm sure I could invest in some sort of software that would do all of this for me, but I think that then loses the personal touch. So we'll see.
The thing is, you're naturally intuitive, aren't you? So of course you would some of that stuff would be taken out of it if you're having a chart from a machine.
If you get one of those programmed interpretations, it's just going to be a chart full of contradictions, because this might mean this, but this might mean this. It's still not about the person. You've got to go with the feels of the person, because some of those transits are going to be more important than others. You might get something that says you're a very confident person, but then another transit will say you're really shy. So you're like, well, am I confident or am I shy? Who am I? And it's knowing that intuition and how it all fits together, that then I can put that down into a chart for you.
No, absolutely. So how do people book with you? Or do you through your social? Can they book through social?
Yeah, on my page. Yeah, just go onto my page, which is at Soul Serenity Healing and Guidance.
Hang on. At SOUL SERENTY. I don't know, I spelled Serenity wrong.
Oh no, it's at Soul Serenity HG. I dropped the just at Soul Serenity HG.
SEN.
I couldn't bother to write out Healing and Guidance every
time. ITY HG.
Yeah, just shortened it. That's
That's how you get older, man.
That's my
Is that
page
it?
on there. That is it. Yes. Yeah. I've got, or you can email me, which is info@soulserenityhg.com. There's 2 ways to get hold of me. I saw someone said something about an app suggestion. Astrology. None of these apps are free. If you want to start getting into astrology, you know, you've got to pay for those apps. And some of them aren't cheap either, but it is worth it. It's a great way to learn to study. If anyone wants to study astrology, I say do it. It's a fascinating subject. I will, in the summer, I was going to say the spring, but we all know what I'm like. In the summer, I will have some sort of mini workshops coming up, late spring, early summer. Teaching astrology.
Oh.
So, yeah, I won't be teaching people to draw charts, but there will be, no, it's just too much.
Yeah.
You have to get your epidermis out. No, but I will, you know, the archetype, there'll be planets archetypes, zodiac archetypes, how to work with the moon, all of that will be coming. It's all under construction. My website's under construction. I'm going through this massive overhaul of stuff, and it's all technology now, isn't it? And moving it all onto technology is quite a challenge for me, because I am a pen and paper person.
I like pen and paper. I
don't even know how we've done this today. I'm fascinated. Actually, it is amazing, isn't it, that you can do this, and even in this lockdown, you can talk to people.
I know.
Like you're an answer.
I've started doing the interviews with people and having people like you and Kate and other people and Naz and people like that on, because you just, you know, we can't see each other, but we all still need this information, you know. So it's just a great way of doing it.
I feel like I haven't seen another person I started becoming a hermit, if I'm being honest. Yes. I'm actually feeling a little bit, I'm nervous about the world reopening, because I'm not going to have any excuses to not go out anymore. Yeah, I have to go and actually mix with people.
That's it, isn't it?
We can't lock down.
No, exactly. You need more videos like this. Yeah. Well, that's the plan. The plan is, Kat, to actually sort of do these maybe once a month or so. It was just timings. This week. I've got a few people lined up that I want to talk to, and my plan is to try and do them around about once a month. And they go onto my YouTube channel as well. So people that aren't on Facebook or whatever, I do chuck these onto my YouTube channel as well. And that's under the
brilliant. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh no, absolutely, it's been a pleasure. I will be finding out.
Hind leg of a donkey.
Eh?
So I've talked the hind leg off a donkey. I do like to talk. I didn't realise quite how much. Sorry.
But it's all interesting stuff. And I actually have an understanding of astrology now, much more.
Do you? Did that help?
It makes much more sense to me. I never understood it. Like, I didn't know what conjunct meant or any of this. It's like it's just another language, you know. And it's just understanding.
Yeah, that's half the battle. Is the terminology is half the battle, and I think like that's why I'm going to do these little workshops, because it's very simple, really. Not working it out and all of the, you know, that does take a long time, and there's so many different parts to it, like I say. But if you know what these things mean, and then like the cards, you know, you get used to that.
Yeah, of course you do.
What that card means, you get the intuition that goes with it. You know, then you know that transit, you can intuitively feel what that transit is. It's the same as reading. It's just very similar to reading tarot, I think.
I think it is. It's just a different format, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just using the stars and the alignments and stuff. And, you know, and from an energy point of view, you know, the Dragons keep saying there's energy coming in, there's this coming in, there's that happening and so on, you know. And so I will be actually talking to you about what's coming up, because they're saying there's blah, blah. So I'll be on the phone going, man, what's going on next?
Yeah. Wow. I don't know everything by no means. I'm not like an expert. I'm an ever learning expert. You know, I study it. I don't think anyone is an expert, are they? I know what I know, and I don't know yet what I don't know, but I'll learn, hopefully. So,
and that's it. We're all students, and we're all teachers.
Yeah, exactly.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I've really enjoyed tonight's chat, and obviously thank you to our special guest Amanda for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We will see you all now next Saturday, not tomorrow, but Saturday next week. It is the Harmony meditation. So it's our monthly dragon meditation on the new moon. We're working with Harmony this month, and we're doing global healing with Harmony. I wondered what she was going to be doing, and it's actually going to be global healing is what we're going to be doing. So I'll talk a bit more about that on a live later on next week. Just to give you a heads up on that.
And so well, doesn't it, as well, in with the equinox?
Yes, all perfect, isn't it? Yeah, so that's what we've got with Harmony next Saturday night. And I will see you all soon. So have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Stay safe and all the other gubbins that goes with it at the moment. I'll see you on the other side. Take care, guys. Bye for now.
Bye.